Welcome everyone to the Infernal Brotherhood of the Scruffy Looking Nerf Herders. This is a live streaming YouTube video podcast by Star Wars fans for Star Wars fans. Today we're going to be continuing our episodic review of The Mandalorian with Chapter 19, The Convert, aka Season 3, Episode 3.
I like the AKA.
Yeah.
AKA, we want to be like Andor.
Right? And you know what? This is the first episode this season that I have fucking loved.
I knew we were going to be on opposite ends.
Okay, before we get to that, because obviously, like, that shit, like, that was Andor pacing, that was Andor filming, like, that was just beautiful. But the first 9 minutes of the show, the introduction, that was the fucking Mandalorian.
That was dope as fuck.
That was straight up season 2 Mandalorian, and I was all about it.
That was so good. I was so excited. We haven't seen a space fight, like a dog fight with spaceships, in a very long time. And this was a really good one.
Really fucking good one.
Oh, man. I forgot how much I wanted and needed it until I saw it. I was just like,
right? Yeah, and you almost forget that you're basically watching a really expensive cartoon. Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah. It was so good. I love the setup. She's like, hey, did you see anything down there? He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I passed out. I didn't expect it to be that deep. She's like, yeah, was anything living? He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's like, nothing.
Oh, nothing. I didn't see shit either.
I see a gigantic fucking monster. No.
Right?
Why did she not say that, do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, it's almost like it seems like they're setting it up so that she's going to be the new Mandalore, even though she used to be whatever, but which that would make sense, because if somebody should be the Mandalore, like Mandalore the Uniter Part 2, that would be Bo-Katan.
Yeah. See, I want her to be that. It seems like you want her to be that. Clearly, the fanatical element of the religion of Mandalore doesn't want her to be that, even though they accept her, but she was an apostate up until now. Do you think they would accept her now if she said straight up, like, hey, I'm going to write a Mythosaurus, bitches?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you'd have to. Like, there is no way in hell a religious fanatic faced with one of the biggest myths of their religion, like, actually seeing that shit, like, there's no way in hell they could deny that shit. Because, like, that was what Mandalore the Great, Mandalore the Uniter, like, the first Mandalore did. And that's why it was such a big deal, because he was able to tame this mythical beast and thus unite a war-torn nation. So yeah, it would have to be that way. Hi, Pika fan.
Pika fan, what's up, man? So I'm not entirely sure I understand the motivation. Like, on one hand, I want to think of Bo-Katan as having foresight and knowing she needs to go through the motions in order to sort of retake. But then we're presented with a face of her as she's given up. And then her home gets fucked. So I mean,
that's a Star Wars story right there.
Right, but I can't at this point think that she has plans,
Oh, no, she's just fucking winging it at this point, shit.
Yeah, right? Like, that's my vibe that I'm getting, is she's straight up just winging it. She doesn't believe in this fanatical bullshit at all. But if she can use it to leverage something, then maybe. Like, I feel like this episode was the first time we saw the glimmer of hope come back into her.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because we didn't even really see it, like, when they were, when she had a little bit of a crew and were stealing ships. Yeah. Like, there was the fun aspect of it for her, but there was something just missing. This is her being like, I might be able to do something.
I could leverage this.
Yeah.
Seeing her home being bombed by TIE bombers, and then seeing the TIE interceptors coming in.
Dude, that fucking made my day when I saw that shit. It's like, oh my God, yes!
Exciting.
It sets up, like, shit that doesn't matter to anybody but losers like us. Yeah. Like, that's this era of time, that's what the warlords had. Like, they didn't have the traditional ties. They might have had one or two of the bombers, but typically, like, that's pretty much all that lasted post um, Operation Cinder was like little bitty groups of Moffs having defenders.
Yeah.
So it was fucking cool to see that.
So this episode set up the idea that Moff Gideon escaped,
Hmm.
and he is just one of the many warlords, Imperial warlords. It makes logical sense that he's the one that ordered the assault on Bo-Katan because she stole her fucking Star Destroyer, which makes perfect logical sense. But they presented the idea of warlords, plural. Do you think
Yeah,
it was Gideon?
I like to think that it would be Gideon. It would make sense because, of course, he's coming back. There's no way in hell when the Infinity War of Star Wars happens that Gideon's not going to be a part of it. Like, I just find that really hard to believe because he's such a powerful character. And I mean, fuck, everybody loved him. Like, he was just fantastic. So I'd be surprised if that wasn't him and he didn't come back.
Yeah. I'll buy it if that's the case.
Mhm.
I'll also be okay if maybe he is working with another warlord that's already sort of, in a better position of power.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe like a blue-skinned one or something like that.
Oh my god. Dude, if we got him already, like this early on, pre-Ahsoka, I would have a heart attack. Because then it's like, oh god, you guys got me. What happens now?
Yeah. So he feels like the tone and feel of this episode is what Rangers of the New Republic would have been before it was canceled. Interesting. Yeah, I had no anticipation of what that would be like.
Yeah, I would like to think that, but I don't know, almost feels like it would be like a goofy buddy cop dramedy, like, or because, well, fuck, think about god, the directors are
21 Jump Street.
No, the two X-wing pilots that kept following, like, that's what I wanted to see, like the buddy cop comedy of them.
The lethal action or lethal weapon of fucking
yeah, like I wanted to see that. That's all I was expecting from Rangers of the New Republic. I'm sure it wouldn't have been that, because why would it have been that? That would have been pretty fun.
Yeah. So this episode is bookended by full-blown just Mandalorian man jam all over your face.
Yeah, 100%.
Inside the cream filling of this episode, you seem to enjoy much more than I did. But it felt like they were like, hey, Andor did so well, maybe we try to copy that.
It's funny because I'm probably like the only person I know that actually liked that.
Oh, really?
But it was good. And yeah, of course, it straight up felt like Andor. Like, this was like the episodes that were really heavy on Grumpy Homeboy. I forgot his name already. But yeah, I mean, that's what it felt like. But Pershing. Also, what's that?
Dr. Pershing.
No. I'm talking about the guy in Andor, the crybaby guy.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, so it did feel a lot like that. But also, they're trying to build up the lore of where Palpatine got the cloning shit, and obviously, like, everything ended season 1, and now he's rehabilitated and a part of the New Republic now. So it's like I liked seeing where that character was, because I had hoped that we were going to get more of him, because I really liked him.
I think
just seeing it, like, I dug it.
Yeah,
and it was cool too, also to see like how they essentially integrate war criminals. It was
like that
aspect of Star Wars than we'd seen. So that was probably why I was really all about it.
Yeah, and the EU did deal with that a lot, where they would have people that would turn and work with the New Republic after, sort of being pressured in one way or another to do so, or they just sort of saw the error of the ways. And it's very sort of Star Wars on par for the course. What bothered me about it was in the EU, Palpatine had worked the cloning thing since the Clone Wars. So it was a perfected situation. It was not an experimental thing. It wasn't something they were developing. And yet we're being presented with a show that's saying, yeah, clones existed, but we're just discovering the technology right now.
Yeah, but it wasn't that good.
It was good enough to have a whole army
Yeah.
And yet now
Right?
they're like, well, we're still trying to figure it out, and we're working out the kinks. You did! Like you had a fucking army of them
Pretty
that were
much. Well,
wildly effective.
and the thing is too, like with the whole cloning thing, like look at Boba Fett. Boba Fett was a literal clone, not just an
Yeah,
sped up and shit. Like he was just a perfect carbon copy of a human being. Like it's
exactly.
not that crazy. And then obviously we got Omega. That's
Exactly. We even have a
like,
shitty version of Boba Fett.
yeah. It's
But
like
like,
she's like
so
the
the Emperor can't figure it out. Like the Empire's just like, we don't know what to do with this stuff. They're like,
yeah.
what
I
the
don't get it.
fuck?
Well, and it pisses me off too because it's like coming from EU, like I mean, yeah, we had the fucking Clone Wars. We had just clones throughout everything. Even after his death, we had God damn it, what's his name? Joe Koboth or some shit. I don't know. We had a random dark Jedi that
Oh
was a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
clone. In the
Yeah. Joe Mark Kabouth.
that's probably it. But yeah, like in
Maybe
Dark Force
pronounce it
or not
wrong.
Dark Force Rising,
But yeah,
the Red and Roltheron
yeah.
trilogy. Like there was so many examples of yes,
They
they
were
fucking
cloning
had it.
Force users. They cloned Luke
Yeah,
Skywalker.
yeah, yeah. The Emperor had 2 clones, and that's not even counting his kids that were technically clones.
Yeah, I mean, like in Dark
Yeah,
Empire, he had like containers upon containers of clones because
yeah,
the power of the dark side could not be contained in a clone. So he had to constantly jump from clone to clone, and then the power would then preternaturally age the clone, and you have to jump again.
yeah.
Like that's the
Well,
whole
then,
thing. And so we're so used to
yeah,
the Empire already having that technology, and them now presenting it saying, yes, they had it for the Clone Wars, but now they sort of are still trying to figure it out. It's
yeah. It's
unbelievable
fucking
to me.
stupid. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I definitely do have a problem with that.
Yeah. It bothered me a lot. Chris, how you doing? So you like the
Long time
Pershing?
no see.
Yeah, do you like the Pershing storyline? Funny how Mando got the spotlight taken from him. Yeah, just like Boba Fett did on his.
Didn't deserve it. I'm just saying, like those first 2 episodes were pretty underwhelming. Like it was akin to Boba Fett. They were underwhelming episodes, and then they had to bring in somebody that knew what the fuck they were doing with a character they knew what the fuck they were doing with.
Yeah. Um, I guess my problem with this version is that you can't help but compare it to Andor, which did it infinitely better.
Yeah.
Even I think the CGI was not on par with Andor because Andor used
No.
real world locations and practical
Yeah.
set design. This was clearly digital.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but even like some of the characters. And that's one of the things that with the the resurgence or the like with Disney taking over, they have relied so heavily on practical effects and then just obviously cleaning it up with digital and stuff. And we're getting droids that are digital in this. And it's like so glaringly obvious that they're digital as opposed to the exact same type of droids that are in this that are practical.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I'm wrong, like if those were practical, then fuck, they fooled me, and that's good on them. But if those were digital, it's like you're just doing it as service. Why? We don't need that.
Yeah, the whole shtick with hey, go ahead and touch the mountain, and he goes to try to touch it, and then
That
batteries not
was
included comes and stops him.
yeah, that shit was stupid as hell. But I giggled both times I saw it.
It just kills me inside a little bit because I'm like, this clearly seems like you're copying something that was done really well.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's painfully obvious that you're copying it, and it just doesn't land the way you expect it to land, because that show was brilliant in so many levels, and so far this one has been middling at best. And this episode, when you're trying to copy something that's brilliant but you can't pull it off, feels even worse. And then you're left with the question of, okay, so this Elia Kane, is that her name? I'm looking at my notes. Anyway, that the female who was operating the Star Destroyer for Moff Gideon, then takes him to go get his med kit or a med station or whatever the fuck they call it. But I don't understand her rationale. I just, is she operating out of vengeance? Is she operating because she really is brainwashed in the New Republic and she's just overcompensating? Like, I don't get
No,
what they were
she
getting.
she's got to be a double agent. She's got to be working for Gideon or someone else.
But
She
then
has
why wouldn't they want to use Pershing instead of frying his brain?
probably because he knew too much or something. I don't know.
I feel like you could just
That's
capture
where
him.
I'm still trying to figure that part out.
Yeah.
But it does seem like she's still loyal to Gideon.
See, that's what I thought too, but it just didn't make sense. Her killing the guy that they were then using to clone. Okay, so let's pretend there's a universe where they need that cloning technology to keep the Emperor alive or bring him back alive, as is presented in The Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the universe we're operating in, there aren't a handful of cloners that are able to do it. The one that they had refused to work with them. So this is the only other guy that seemingly is capable of actually melding in Force user, like making Dark Jedi clones and shit like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they fry his brain? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand that. It's like, are you trying to make him a vegetable, thus erasing everything? Or I didn't get it. Yeah, that was definitely a part that I had an issue with.
Audience, please tell us what you think about that, because it's really the one thing that I'm just like, I don't understand.
Well, and then
At all.
You know, Chris is saying that it's laying groundwork for Snoke and Palpatine, but it's also like that doesn't. Yeah, I
a
know.
little bile when you said Snoke.
Yeah, right. That character could have been so fucking good.
Yeah.
And that's the disappointing part. Just like Phasma. Like, if any one of you were underwhelmed by Phasma, read her fucking book.
Preach.
It will make you so much more pissed off at Rian Johnson for shitting the bed on that one. But yeah, it's like they're trying to destroy his brain. Like, it's not like she's in there, you know, finding certain pathways and shit and wiping only certain aspects of his brain. She just cranked that bitch to 11 and is frying him. So it's like, how is that going to be helping, you know, with the cloning procedures and shit? Like, if he's the only person that knows how to do this shit, and specifically what he's talking about, like the taking different aspects of different DNA strands and putting it together, yeah, why make him a fucking vegetable?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me, and so I'm sort of grasping at straws.
I can't do it, man. I'm trying talking about Bad Batch. I haven't.
There's not last episode, but the one before that I thought was pretty good, but it's been rough. It's been a hit and miss 100%.
I'm gonna binge it right before we do our part 2 review of the season, but man, I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, right now there's one good episode.
I'm going to get.
And there's a beginning of the episode, which is like Sector 7 or Sector 6. What was that?
No shit.
Yeah, but it's only the very beginning, so you get excited. So it's like, you know, this girl that you've been really digging on in high school, she decides to give you a handy, but then she has to stop because someone came in the room or someone's looking or something, so you don't get to finish. That's what that episode was like. You're just like, oh, it's happening again. It's happening again. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, Pika, that's what I loved about it. I mean, I've got a fucking hard on for the entire Mad Max universe, so having that in Star Wars, it's like,
great.
I'm fucking twist my nipples while I'm reading. I'm like, oh god, this is so good. Yeah, good shit.
Yeah, I love that book. It was really good. I mean, one of the very few of the new novels that have been released that was really sort of like it didn't feel like a Star Wars novel as much as it just felt like a good sci-fi novel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's saying something, because Star Wars is very like pinpoint, you know? I mean, like you have to, I don't know. Anyway. So we get this weird dynamic with them that's a little bit Harry Met Sally, a little bit like you don't know where they're going, you know, with the fucking relationship with these two. She seems super shady from go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm trying to understand why this dude is believing the fucking shit she's selling him. Mm-hmm. And can we talk about the popsicles really quick?
Yeah, why?
What? I don't understand why you got to do that.
Yeah, like space popsicles. Just get a goddamn popsicle. Fuck.
It's so fucking ridiculous. And then at the end, when they're walking away from the mountaintop, she's like, "Let me get you a fizzy fusion or something."
A proton fizzy.
Just fucking call it I'll get you a calf. Like, just some existing regular name. Yeah. Don't try to space it up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we don't need proton pop. No, man,
So
it's like
stupid.
that just sounds like some fucking 1950s bullshit.
It's so dumb. Oh,
Yeah.
it just kills me inside hearing it. Like I will accept Dura like um Durasteel, Plastisteel, like this
Busted.
sort of Duracrete.
Hmm.
Like you understand this stuff, but as soon
Yeah.
as you start going to like proton fizzies and shit, like you lost me. Like fuck off with that shit.
Yeah, it's like at least Duracrete, Durasteel, Plasteel, that all makes sense.
Yeah,
Like, okay, cool. What the fuck is a like? How the hell
it's
are you gonna make
durable.
a proton specific thing?
Yeah,
Like, what are you gonna do? Like, you take a bite and it's an atom bomb and it blows up.
it
What the
blows
fuck
your
is
face
this
up.
shit?
These are great.
Actually, I'm not talking myself out of trying one.
It might be a lizard in your nose. You never know. You got to give it a go first.
Right, right.
Um. Oh, hold on. There's something else that I wanted to fucking bring up too. Damn it. So the whole walking away on the train situation from the droid, I thought was very odd. Were they afraid they just didn't have a ticket, or he
Yeah,
was going to
they were
notice
train
that they
hopping.
were from that one program?
Yeah, that was kind of my assumption. Was like, one, they're gonna get popped because they don't have a ticket, and then when they find out, or when the authorities are alerted and they're coming to give them a ticket for that shit, and find out they're from that sector, the what the fuck were they calling it? The amnesty program.
Yeah.
Then they'd get in double trouble because they're not supposed to be out there. They're only supposed to be in a set place. So it made sense, but it was
I don't
meh.
know. Like it didn't. That whole sequence didn't land for me. Looking at Coruscant, it felt like it was prequel era graphics that I was looking at, which
Well,
at the time were good, but now I expect more.
honestly, man, that looks exactly like what was it, Hazian Prime in the
Hosnian
sequel
Prime.
trilogy.
Yeah,
Like it looked exactly like that as
yeah,
well.
it kind
So
of did. But even that
they're
was years
staying.
ago. That was
Yeah,
like 7 years ago,
yeah, but that was also with like
5 years ago.
ungodly amounts of money. Just like the mouse is just fucking making it rain.
Yeah,
So they could spend all the money they want. With this, I mean, they're on a tighter budget, so it's like it almost is excusable, but at the same time, it's like, come on, it's fucking Star Wars, do better.
One thing that and there's a lot about this episode that I sort of have in the forefront of my mind. First of all, let's just talk about Coruscant. Is if you're on the top level, that is the most elite premier level of existence. There are thousands of levels of fucking Coruscant going down to its core. I can't imagine the amnesty level would be on the top. That's just me griping about bullshit.
I get it because of the face that the New Republic's trying to have. Because they're parading these motherfuckers around. Like, they had this huge thing. Like, that's how his portion
TED
of the
Talk?
story. Yeah. It's like, this guy is a war criminal.
Yeah.
And you guys are making a show of how he's rehabilitated and how we're going to bring him into society and better the New Republic. So I believed that. Now, if they were like just grunts, the ones that I don't believe were the other soldiers. Like when he comes back from, like if all they were fucking stormtroopers and shit, or even just officers, like not even high up officers, but like staff officers and shit. Like, the fuck are they doing up there? Like that, I can understand throwing them down a bit because they're not going to be like, oh, they're totally reformed and now they're going to do this for society.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's a scientist. This guy's a doctor. I get that. Like, our own fucking country did that shit. Like, look at NASA. I mean, we got a lot of fucking Nazis that started that.
Yeah, we really did do that exact thing.
Like, and we made a show about it. So it's like, that makes sense, but the soldiers, not so much.
Yeah. So the other side of that is Pika brings up about seeing Mon Mothma. Like, if it makes sense with the narrative of the story, like if logically it would make sense to see her, then I would have liked to see her. I feel like we would have seen her with bad graphics around her, and that would have actually made Andor worse. So
Yeah,
I'm kind of glad they didn't bring her into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it wouldn't make sense, like, especially if we're getting, like, another season of Andor, like, do it after that, because I have a feeling that that's going to be, like, the B side, or the B story of another season would be Mon Mothma's plight, getting from her husband, starting like joining the rebellion as a almost like an officer versus like a financier as she is now. So I feel like that.
What did you think about the Mon Cal silliness banter when he was finally captured? It was a trap.
Yeah,
He was like, "This is a brain scrambler." He's like, "No, this is something totally different." No, this is the
yeah,
exact same thing. Oh, we figured out on lower users it's very similar, but it's a different machine. No, it's exactly the same. Okay, it's the same, you fucker. We're just gonna scramble your brain.
yeah.
Like,
That shit. It made me laugh, but I was disappointed in myself for laughing.
well, it was definitely one of those things where they were just like, eh? It was a trap. Eh? It was. I felt like I was watching Family Guy, and I was just like
Yeah.
waiting.
Yeah, this is definitely Blue Harvest. Straight the fuck
Just
up.
was right in your face, just like, eh?
Well, and it's so stupid too, because of course his issue when he's at his day job is, oh, we're destroying Imperial tech. Well, yeah, it's because it's Imperial. It's like, yeah, but we could use this. Well, we got to get rid of it, just like we're decommissioning the Alliance fighters, and it's like, okay, so that's where you guys draw the line. Ships to protect your systems from outside threats, bad. Brainwashing devices meant specifically just to wipe people's minds, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very inconsistent.
Yeah.
I mean, we are operating from a position of the New Republic, whether you're talking new or like canon or Legends, the old EU, it was never successful. They were never capable of actually doing the job of governing.
The New Republic EU was, once they sort of affiliated with the Empire. Like once the Imperial Remnant started like jiving with them, they started doing good.
But that was years.
Yeah, no, that was like 40 years after the Battle of Yavin. But they did it.
Long time.
God damn it.
But they got there.
That's like the biggest bitch fit with the whole fucking Disney takeover is we didn't get to see where that went.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So
they just sort of jumped and just let us, like, we just have to accept that this is how it came to.
Yeah.
I didn't, like, it's tough because I don't mind the idea of you take in your enemy and make them productive for your side. That's something we've always done. I had a hard time believing that they would just outright destroy everything that they took over. It makes no logical sense. If you're in the Bronze Age, let's say you're in Napoleon's age, what was that, like 15th century? Like, okay, up until then, it makes sense to destroy everything because you're the conquering nation. But from that time to today, and arguably into the future, we have realized that we can actually use their knowledge and technology to better us, arguably most often industrially and in our military industrial complex, but we've always used it to better whatever the overtaking nation is.
Well, and even like down to like agriculture and shit. That's the only reason why the colonial people were able to take over this nation was because they learned the ways of the people that were native to this land, and then they killed them, but they learned how to use their agricultural skills.
But we also made a lot of money off their backs, so it wasn't all bad.
Yeah. Like the whole island, or the Manhattan Island cell, like that's some funny shit. That still makes me laugh at something. What's that?
I'm not familiar with that.
Really?
Yeah.
So, the island of Manhattan was sold to some settlers by a tribe for like a fucking handful of beads or something.
That's a good deal.
But here's what makes it an even better deal. It was a tribe that didn't even own that land. So they got some fucking beads and a good laugh.
That's the American way.
That's the fucking American way.
Now I know that it has just always been the way. I feel better about it.
Yeah, straight up. Straight up.
That's hilarious. You always felt the New Republic sacrificed so much to win the war that they were spread too thin to rule, like the board game Risk. You only have one. Yeah, well, I mean, let's be honest about one thing. the rebels that created the New Republic were a terrorist cell. They were not an established societal governmental system. You know, it was a bunch of fucking like war criminals. Like that's
Yeah.
they were fighters. That's it. You had a couple people at the top echelon who sort of came over, like General Nadir, or you know, you had Mon Mothma that was always sort of pro to the cause, but they were so few and far between to the actual masses. You had the Bothans actively acting against the fucking Mon Cals just for political reasons, totally undermining the New Republic in the whole way. Like this is pretty like par for the course for our own political system.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's ridiculous. I always like to think, like an idiot, because I'm a fucking idiot, that the future will be good. Like, we'll learn from our mistakes.
Never.
Man, come on, people. Let's just fucking learn. Yeah, what else about this episode did you want to talk about? I know we've been sort of picking it apart, and even the flaws that I felt, I did enjoy it.
So here's the thing. There wasn't much to this episode. It was a sense. It was a lot of atmosphere.
Yeah.
It was a lot of tension.
Okay.
But there wasn't much story.
Yes, 100%. Let's talk about the tension because they use the Sith fucking song on this. The theater where Sidious is telling Anakin, you know, about Plagueis and how he met his doom. They had that playing under Dr. Pershing getting ready to go get that cloning and stuff. Do you think that... Oh, fuck, I didn't think about that till now. What if they don't need Pershing at all? They just don't know the equipment they need. So they needed to get him to pick it out.
Oh, shit.
But then if they could use the equipment, wouldn't they then know what it was to get themselves?
That would make so much fucking sense.
I'm still trying to piece it together why it doesn't make full sense to me.
Like I'd buy that for $1. I'll just put it that way. But if we're going to be talking about music, more importantly, Adam, they used like little snippets of the music from the little fucking parade thing in the holiday special, like with the acrobats.
Is that the real same music?
I swear to God it is. I watch that shit every single year and listen to that same shitty music every single year, and I swear to God that they had to use little snippets of it when they were celebrating the thing.
I do remember there was the music they were playing when they were together going to then look at the rock, the mountaintop with their glowy popsicles.
Yeah.
That music like took me. I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
That's what it reminded me of, and I swear to God that they fucking used some of the shit. That's like, oh my God, this is so terrible.
It. That is definitely it. Oh my gosh, it was so out of place and so strange. I was just like, "This is not Mandalorian. What the fuck am I watching?" Yeah. This is like someone making a series off of the prequels right after the prequels. This is not. It doesn't make sense to me. Like I'm so used to like that established score and composition, and even if we're stepping beyond that and going into like Andor and Boba Fett, it's still sort of the same vibe. This was very much like it was weird.
I would rather that for Ahsoka, Chris. Just saying.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Here's the thing. We're almost halfway through the fucking season. Next episode is mid-season. We haven't had dick for story. If they just gave us a bunch of fucking essentially filler episodes with little snippets of something cool, and then at the end brought in the big bad, it'd be a waste.
Yeah. I do think that's what's going to happen, though. Like, for real. And to that point, you know, that question you answered, would you rather see Thrawn show up on the show or leave that for Ahsoka? And then before that, Pika Fan's asking, or saying the next episode will be written by Filoni, meaning we're probably going to see Ahsoka. Who do I want to see show up next? I don't want to see Thrawn until the very end. If then. I want him to be, when we see him on screen, it's like, fuck!
Yeah.
I don't want to have to wait a year, you know, be teased by it. I want it to hit, and then us not to be able to reconcile the emotional turmoil that we're experiencing from seeing him.
Yeah, 100%.
Man. And then, if Filoni's writing it, we're probably going to see more space whales. We're probably going to see, which I'm down. We're probably going to see Ahsoka, which again, I'm down. I'm okay. I like Ahsoka. The thing is, yeah, this is the halfway point. Do they want to tease us with what could be coming, or do they just want to sort of give us more lore and winks and nods? Like, I'm not
that's
sure.
my biggest fear. I don't want that.
Yeah.
We need a story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Book of Boba Fett, that was
going to go there.
That was fine. It wasn't good, but whatever. That can be.
But there was a story. Like, at least there was a story.
Yeah, there was a story, but that was like, how much bearing does this shit have on everything? Like, we got the goddamn mods, for Christ's sakes. You got that out of your system. Cool. Get just the bad shit out, and then everything else should be nice, heavy, just full of nutritional content storytelling.
I mean, we're literally on the precipice of a Mandalorian civil war, with Bo-Katan and then, that cult. We're on the precipice of some sort of cloning Empire Moff Gideon reveal that they've been teasing us for the past 2 seasons. I mean, we're now teased with the possibility of multiple warlords coming in and taking over, various sectors. We've been
which we already know in canon happened.
Yeah. We saw the fucking space whales, so we know we're being teased about Thrawn coming back in with Ezra Bridger from Rebels. Like, they're setting up so much possibility, but they're not actually delivering anything yet, and it's
frustrating.
I was frustrated with how much I thought I enjoyed the first episode, and then after talking with you about it, how much I was just sort of shining at myself, not actually for what it was. The second one I enjoyed, and I actually thought was really great. I was sort of bothered that we totally didn't see eye to eye on this. And this one, the cap ends were brilliant, but everything in between, I was like, that was a really long episode for fucking dick. Like, we're presented with the character with a promise of a future, and then they kill him? What the fuck was the episode for? Like, it just, I don't know. I really...
No, I agree.
That bothered me about this.
Yeah, this is like the reversal of us reviewing episode 1. Because I was going into this like, yeah, this was so fucking good. And now I'm like, no, this was kind of bullshit. Minus, obviously, Din and Bo-Katan shit. Like, that was just gold. That was Mandalorian. That's what we've been... Like, that's all I've wanted from the beginning of this season. Yeah. So, let's talk about the end. When they get there... Or wait, no. Was that the end?
Well, it was the end when she was accepted amongst the Mandalorian.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I was thinking that was like at the end of this episode, like whatever. But yeah, that was cool, I guess. Oh my god!
I thought anytime we saw
the Snoke reveal, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed.
I thought the end of this episode was great. The beginning and end of this episode was the best part of it. Okay, I accept the middle part, though I don't honestly understand it. And then what do we want? What do you want for next episode? What would just make you happy to see?
I mean, just some more dogfights.
That was
give me an
so
episode
great.
of that. Like, I don't like. It's fine to have filler episodes, but I want a filler episode that is popcorn, not a filler episode that is like Tic Tacs.
Right.
Like something that I can just take handfuls of, shove in my face, and not give a shit that I'm going to be full on garbage. And that's, an entire episode of them just fucking having dogfights, like them and other Mandalorians, because presumably they have ships, with whatever warlord came after Bo-Katan. That, I would fucking love to see that.
I would really love to see more political maneuverings amongst the Mandalorians. Like, that's what I really want to see. I mean, you were talking about it. I like the idea that you have these two factions that now seemingly are joined, but underneath the surface, someone has to rule and they have to reclaim their planet. I want that political action so desperately bad. And then ultimately with the season, you can bring in the exterior warlords to sort of fuck it up and everything, and you have to have the war. But Like for now, I want to see, like, as much as we love the, seeing this sort of rebellion era which was the Empire, and underneath the surface you had the terrorist cells of the rebels sort of causing shit. In the New Republic era, it's the same thing, where the New Republic is trying their best to sort of deal, but then everyone's underneath like, I need to get my piece too, and that fucks the whole game up for everyone. I want to see that with the Mandalorians. I don't want a unified front. I want realistic individuals trying to get themselves ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, they're already set up to be that way anyways, because, I mean, this is a cult.
Yeah.
If you do not abide by every single thing they believe in to the T, you are their enemy, regardless of who the fuck you are. So, I would love to see that.
So most cults, the leader sleeps with all of the people. Like, if it's a heterosexual leader, he sleeps with everyone's wife in the cult. Do you think that armors fucking every dude in that cult?
I like to think so, Adam.
I bet she is nailing even the girls. She doesn't care. She's a warrior. She respects strength. If you can make me come, I will fuck you. That's the armorer's motto. It's this is the way, and if you can make me come, I will fuck you.
Let's go with that.
I think she's fucking them all. I think she's fucking them all. I think she's bi. I think she's a very strong, empowered individual that just likes to get off.
Yeah.
That's true about cult leaders. How do you think I got these nice robes? Okay. FBI.
Oh, yeah.
Over there. It's the next fucking Flash kid. I can't remember the dude's name. I was going to say it.
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller, yeah. Okay. So
that's a great way to end this episode, isn't it?
Let's end it with that.
So, what do I want to see in future episodes? That.
Yeah. Me too. I want to see Chris with his Star Wars robe starring in the next Star Wars holiday special. Sitting with Grandpa watching the dancers on the hologram.
Hell yeah.
Just like, oh, that's a great ride. Hey, if I just reach my hand to you and you reach your hand to me, it's cool, right?
Yeah, it's not gay. As long as you say no homo afterwards, it's not gay.
Yeah, that's the
That's science, people.
Google it. Hand to God. Google it. All right. Anything else? You good?
No, I think we got it.
I think we beat this thing to the ground. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate your time and attention. Always subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click the bell to get notified about upcoming shows, and click that stupid like button, because show a little class. That's what you got to do, right? Well, we do have a storefront if you like some... Oh, that's not it. Not this one. There's other shirts that I wear sometimes that have Star Wars references. Well, we sell them. So... What?
I said they're fantastic. The shirts.
They're fantastic. I was going to say, we don't actually sell them. Someone else sells them. But we designed them, and we made them available for you. So, hook a brother up. Pick up a shirt.
Well, look cool. Not like a schlub. Buy our shit.
Yeah. So... Until the Infernal Brotherhood convenes again, my fellow scruffy looking Nerf Herders, may the force be with you.
This is the way.
I thought you were going to do like the Mondays, am I right?
I couldn't bring myself to do it, man. I had it written down, but it's like I wanted to fucking punch. So
It's the most uneven tone show. So